Hey everybody, welcome to Fantasy R&R. This is your host Ryan.
And I'm Rob.
And this is week 12 of Fantasy Football 2022. Gobble gobble, motherfuckers.
This is Fantasy with Rob and Ryan, Fantasy R&R.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. This is the best time of the year. You get to get some food, hang out with family, watch some football. We actually have some really good games coming up for this Thanksgiving. Rob, first I want to start off, though, with what are you thankful for this fantasy season?
Well, besides you, Ryan, I am very thankful for the pickups of Justin Fields that have helped me out the last couple weeks. I am thankful for our trade getting ETN because now I have a Jaguar not named Laviska Shenault who I can root for nowadays. In a nutshell, Ryan, I am thankful for you being the commissioner of a great fantasy football league.
Yeah, I am not thankful for anything. Cooper Kupp, you can go fuck yourself. My team can go fuck itself. The only team I beat is Stephanie, so she's going to lose, and we're going to throw our $40 down the drain. And in my other league, which is a clown league, I am losing once again, so I'm probably going to be knocked into like 6th place. It's just been an absolute disaster for me. Finally, I get that must-start quarterback in Jalen Hurts for this year, and it's just been a complete waste regardless. Well, this is my next venture, though, is to just get back into the DFS stuff, and I was thinking maybe we could cater to some of our DFS fans, all three of them out there, that may want to know who are the best value for these Thursday night games, where we have the Bills at Lions, Giants at Cowboys, and then Patriots at Vikings. I would not be surprised if maybe the Lions even pull this off with the way Buffalo's been on offense. I know that score looked a little inflated to me on Sunday. I'm not sure how you felt, but it was a little uglier than what you see on the scoreboard. Tyler Bass doing most of the work, the Bills getting stopped in the red zone almost every drive. Is there anything in that game that concerns you?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and that's what my take on this was the fact that the Lions have won the last 3 straight. So, I mean, things are starting to click. Buffalo has been looking a little shaky. I mean, I know we even brought it up on the podcast when they were talking about this Josh Allen injury to his elbow, and we were both not convinced that the news being reported was inaccurate because it was like, oh, it's not too serious, this, that, and this, and then he doesn't really practice until the Saturday before the Sunday game, and they lose to the Jets. So, I don't know. It would not shock me at all if Detroit ends up blindsiding Buffalo this week. I mean, I don't think anybody should really be surprised, right? The way they've been playing the last few weeks. Jamal Williams is an absolute monster.
Yeah,
Who saw that coming?
He's probably going to, be on his way to possibly a record for most rushing TDs ever in a single season by a running back if he keeps this up at this pace. And before we get into some of the DFS names and salaries, that's what I want to point out is the Lions are probably going to be a heavy underdog. And if you're the kind of person that's a low-risk bettor, maybe you're on DraftKings and you're doing $10 a game or something like that, I would think about betting on the Lions in this one. It's probably a chance to make some money with a lot of huge upside. Remember, it really doesn't do you much to take the lock. The Bills seem like they'd be the better team, but if you're watching with, that eye test, they're sliding a little bit like we were just talking about, and it would be interesting if the Lions pull this off. So, I mean, that would be the way I'd bet my $10, $20 or whatever. Giants at Cowboys, are you concerned with Saquon Barkley, and what are you thinking about Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard? Did they just trade roles?
Well, man, it's a phenomenal question. The Zeke Pollard thing is definitely something you and I have been talking about at length before, and we kept saying it looked like Pollard needed the more touches, and lo and behold, this guy looks like an absolute monster. Zeke, I don't know. I have not been a huge fan of Zeke. And again, another person who essentially got paid, and I feel like just kind of took a back seat suddenly for no other reason than his own good. When it comes to Barkley, I'm not worried about him. I'm just worried that the Giants really haven't been that good this entire time. And again, that's something else we brought up in the podcast. I think the phrasing was the worst 5-0 team that was at the time. And the other shoe, I believe, has dropped. And Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. Like, I think we can officially say that he is not the answer in New York.
And I'm absolutely shocked watching the Giants. Saquon Barkley, 15 rushing attempts for 22 yards. They never get him space in the first place, so you always have to hope that he's going to kind of make up for his lack of efficiency with a home run play. Etienne kind of reminds me the same way, except he actually pulls off the home run plays. So it's, when we see them grind with Etienne, 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, but then he hits those home run plays for like 20, 60 yards. Barkley does the same thing, but at a much lower ratio. So it's concerning to me because they're not getting him involved in the passing game. And Daniel Jones has been looking so bad. 5 targets for Barkley. Most of those were desperation dump-offs that he didn't even really have a chance at the ball. 2 receptions for 13 yards. Back in week 3, he had 4 targets for 4 receptions, 45 yards. Week 1, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 30 yards. You got to get this guy involved in the passing game and let him try and get out into open space. There hasn't been enough of that. I think Barkley is probably one of the better receiving backs in the league, and it shocks me that they never use him that way, because we have for a while seen him be kind of 1 to 2 yard per game running back. So again, I'm like you, I'm not concerned. I think he's just on the Giants, and he's got talent. It's not somebody I would trade away. It's somebody I would love to trade for, because I think people probably have a lower value of him than most other running backs, erroneously, and you just have to be patient going forward. Patriots at Vikings. Patriots, to me, are just always a mess in the running game. Damian Harris, they're already talking in ESPN, is Damian Harris the go-to RB for the Patriots? It's like, how do you even ask that question? We've been asking the question back and forth for years. That's why these guys have to stay on our benches most of the time. Next week, are you confident that Damian Harris gets the same volume of carries, or is it just back to Ramondre Stevenson might be the star of this next game against the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, it's been ever evolving. I wouldn't want to have anything to do with the backfield. Similar to what we were talking about even last week about certain backfields. I don't want to start. Keep them on the bench? Yes. Start? Absolutely not. And you never know what they're going to do. The Patriots offense completely anemic last week with 3 points. I mean, how much longer can the Mac Jones era last? Who knows? But I wouldn't. Jacoby Myers, I don't want to start him. Hunter Henry, I don't want to start any Patriot.
Yeah.
If that answers your question.
And again, I think it's just kind of a knee-jerk reaction, because it looked a lot like Saquon Barkley's line for Ramondre Stevenson. We know he's more talented than this and more explosive. 15 attempts, 26 yards. But in the passing game, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 56 yards. Sometimes you have to use these running backs as a passing back when you're struggling to get yards on the ground. So Damian Harris showed a little bit more efficiency this time, going 8 attempts for 65 yards, but they still used Ramondre Stevenson more. Damian Harris only had 2 targets for 28 yards. So obviously more of the volume share going to Ramondre Stevenson. Guys, if I were you and you had both these running backs, I would just be playing Ramondre Stevenson in one of your flex positions and leaving Damian Harris on the bench for now. Ramondre Stevenson has 144 fantasy points on the year to Damian Harris' 68, and I think Harris maybe only missed like 1 game. That's a huge difference. Keep starting Ramondre Stevenson. Vikings side of the ball, Justin Jefferson after that catch last week, and I'm not concerned about this last game. Jefferson's a superstar.
Dallas' defense is that good. Micah Parsons is the man. We are, and Kirk Cousins pulled a Kirk Cousins game. But this is why, in a conversation we're about to have, this is why you don't waste your pick on an old school quarterback, I guess you could say. I'm using air quotations here, an old school quarterback in fantasy, because when they put up those duds, I guarantee you, if you're sitting there starting Kirk Cousins, you lost this week. I guarantee it.
And that's going to be interesting now that we're getting into the DFS stuff. What they value Mac Jones at. 23 of 27 passes completed and great efficiency. 246 yards. That's kind of right on the money where you want it to be. It's almost 10 yards an attempt. It's more than 10 yards of completion. However, he didn't produce a touchdown, which is a problem. But he also didn't turn the ball over. So it's like, do you trust Mac Jones not to score this week against Kirk Cousins that didn't score this last week? We know that Kirk Cousins is usually good for 250 yards and 2 TDs, and he's always in that 15-point spectrum most of the time. Everyone's going to have their dud games. Mac Jones, on the other hand, however, to me, he's looking like he's going to be between a 5 and a 10-point quarterback for the foreseeable future. So let's take a look at some of that stuff. Me and Rob are talking about maybe next year we're going to both have our DFS lineup set for every week, and we're going to kind of go head-to-head, see who wins, and compile our record at the end of the year. You can't rely on every single superstar in the league. I remember one of the weeks I actually had Laviska Shenault as a very low-priced flex because I like to play in that $50,000 salary cap range. And He got like 90 yards, TD on the ground. It was a good day, and nobody would ever think to pick him up and start him in a regular league. So you can approach fantasy much differently. Salary cap of $50,000. Obviously, we have Josh Allen as the top salary, $8,000. Looks like we're going to have to abandon RT Sports. Shout out to them, though. I love that site. We're going to have to go over to DraftKings. It does have the updated values for each player. Dak Prescott behind him at $6,200. Kirk Cousins at $5,600. Daniel Jones at $5,500. Goff at $5,200. And Mac Jones is last, $5,100. Backups like Case Keenum and Cooper Rush are pretty high in salary, around the $5,000 mark, and that's mostly because the guys they're backing up may be at a higher injury risk. But obviously you're going to want to go with your starting quarterback. If you had to pick any of the quarterbacks in these Thanksgiving games at that salary, Allen, Prescott, Cousins, Jones, Goff, Mac Jones, who do you want to start with? Do you want to lock quarterback, or you want to save some of that salary cap for the position players?
Man, my knee-jerk reaction to that, legitimately, of course, is to go get our boy Josh Allen.
Yeah, so why don't we start with him?
He has not looked the same the last couple weeks.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we'll put him in for now and then build the rest of the team, and we'll see if we have to take him out. Let's go to the RBs now.
Good deal.
Saquon Barkley coming off a rough game, $8,000. Top running back salary cap. Dalvin Cook behind at $7,400. Pollard at $6,600, which to me sounds like a bargain. Ramondre Stevenson at $64,000.
Like
Jamal Williams at $5,900, going up against Buffalo's defense.
What?
Ezekiel Elliott at $5,800. Devin Singletary at $5,700. DeAndre Swift at $56,000. Damian Harris at $5,500. Alexander Madison at $4,800. Hines $45,000. James Cook coming off a good game with the Bills, $4,400. And remember, some of these guys can be taken at a flex spot later. We do have one flex spot. We're doing classic 9-spot roster.
Okay.
So your first knee-jerk reaction, which running back are you going to trust to get the yards?
I like Devin Singletary at that price. That's somebody that you and I were just talking about last night. He's having a pretty solid season this year for Buffalo.
So let's go ahead and get Singletary.
Is it two running backs?
Yeah, we're going to get two running backs.
Yeah.
Who's the other running back?
Two backs, okay.
We're looking at now with Singletary in there at $5,700. We have used $1,700, and we have $36,300 remaining. So we still have money for Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Pollard at $6,600, and Ramondre Stevenson for $64,000. Jamal Williams at $59,000.
I kind of want to go Pollard there. I like Jamal Williams. I do like him a lot, but that Buffalo rush defense would concern me. I like what we saw from Pollard the last 2 weeks.
And they're going up against the Giants in Dallas.
Yeah, and you know Dallas is going to win this game. Or, no, excuse me, wants to win this game, especially after what they just did with Minnesota. They keep proving themselves.
All right, so let's throw him in there.
Let's go Pollard.
We have $29,700 remaining. We have 6 spots to fill. So we can do an average of about $49.50 per remaining player, or we can spend the big bucks to try and get someone else. And remember, some of these salaries only go as low as maybe $2,000, $2,500. Justin Jefferson leading the way at $8,200. Stephon Diggs behind at $8,000. CeeDee Lamb at $7,100. Amon-Ra St. Brown at $6,600. Gabriel Davis at $5,300, which may be a steal in this game against Detroit. Jacoby Myers $5,100. Darius Slayton at $5,000. Adam Thielen at $4,900. Wan'Dale Robinson may be out. Jamison Williams, I don't think he's going to play, but those guys are in the middle of the pack. We got Michael Gallup, $4,600. Questionable Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond coming in just above $4,000. McKenzie, who has been a dud most of the year, $4,000. It's your first knee-jerk reaction to take a wide receiver.
I would love to just get Jefferson and Diggs and just call it a day. But if I had to do like a B version of them, which is where I'm just trying to save a little bit of money, I like Gabe Davis and I like Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Let's do that. Let's stick them in real quick.
After what St. Brown did last week.
So what we're banking on here is that basically Buffalo's going to have an offensive push with Allen, Singletary, and Gabe Davis on our team. We've got Tony Pollard as a running back. And then in the same game as Buffalo, we got Amon-Ra St. Brown going against Buffalo. So far, $1,700, $800 remaining. An average $44.50 for each player. Let's go over to our second wide receiver slot. Our third wide receiver slot. And this is where we're going to have
three, okay.
Yeah, well, this is where we're going to have to take value pick here. And I'm thinking like Adam Thielen, who's going to be in a completely different game and we know can put up some points, at Minnesota against New England.
What about Darius Slayton? Where's he coming in at?
Darius Slayton at 5,000, just above Adam Thielen.
I like what we've been seeing out of Slayton. I think he had another, 80 yards last week?
Let's go ahead and put him in.
I think the last 3 weeks in a row. Yeah, over 80 yards, I want to say.
So we're going into our tight end slot with 12,800 remaining, an average remaining player salary of about 42.67. Hawkinson comes in at 5,000. Dalton Schultz at 3,800, underneath our average remaining salary. Dawson Knox at 3,500. Bellinger on the Giants at 3,200. Hunter Henry at 31. Jonnu Smith, 3,000. It's just getting uglier and uglier from there. So if you want somebody that's going to be kind of a gimme and save you some money for your flex position, you can always take a loser here. If you want a lot of the upside, I'm thinking Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, Schultz is kind of where I was thinking. Let's just plug and play him there.
That leaves us with 9,000. Let's take a look at the defenses real quick. The top defense is going to be Cowboys at 3,700, Bills at 3,400, Vikings at 3,100, Patriots at 3,000, Giants at 2,400, and the Lions the lowest against Buffalo at 2,100. So if you were to take the lowest on this board right now, with the Giants, you'd have 6,900 left for a flex position. If you were to take the Cowboys, the best defensive option, you'd have 5,300 left for a flex position.
After seeing the Giants' lack of offense against the Lions, I want to say Dallas, but I think the steal there is the Patriots.
And at $100 more,
what'd you say the price difference?
The Vikings, for me, at 3,100 over the Patriots at 3,000. I feel like Cousins has a better chance to score on the Patriots than Mac Jones does on the Vikings.
I don't know. I think after what we saw to Dallas, I think they're going to manhandle the Giants. I think everybody's going to start asking, are the Giants in a free-for-all? I kind of want to say Dallas, but I would not be mad either way if you wanted to go Vikings or Patriots.
Let's see what some of our flex options are here. We still have Justin Jefferson on the board. We have Diggs. We have Barkley. We have Dalvin Cook, CeeDee Lamb. We're probably going to have to kind of get into that area of the under 7,000s. CeeDee Lamb, Ramondre Stevenson, Jamal Williams at flex, Ezekiel Elliott.
CeeDee Lamb's not a bad option.
At $7,100.
I don't mind that at all.
That leaves us with 1,900, which we could not afford a defensive. So we'd have to go under 7,000 here. We're going to have to go Ramondre Stevenson at 6,400 would be our top option. Jamal Williams behind him at 5,900.
Give me 2 more names, but that Jamal Williams right there.
Ezekiel Elliott at 5,800, DeAndre Swift at 56, Damian Harris at 55, Jacoby Myers at 51, Hawkinson at 5,000, Adam Thielen at 4,900. And at those prices, you can go out and get Cowboys D for this week.
Damn, I like that Jefferson, Diggs, or CeeDee Lamb, to be honest.
Who do you want to go with?
But you're saying if we get one of those two, we can't get a decent defense?
Jefferson or Diggs, we can't even afford a defense unless we would move around some of our other wide receivers. Like if we get rid of, Amon-Ra St.
What about
Brown.
Lamb?
Lamb we cannot afford at 7,100. We'd have to maybe downgrade someone like Darius Slayton to Adam Thielen, Gabe Davis to Adam Thielen, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, Adam Thielen was a guy you brought up. I mean, you want to just plug him in as the flex and then go get the Dallas defense?
Let's see what we can afford here. Let's put Adam Thielen in. That leaves us with 4,100. We can afford the Cowboys D.
Good, let's do it. Because I don't like any of the other. I'm not confident in the other defenses at all.
Yeah, I'm going to submit this lineup here. That leaves us with Josh Allen, $8,000. Tony Pollard, $6,600. Devin Singletary, $5,700. Gabe Davis, $5,300. Darius Slayton, $5,000. Amon-Ra St. Brown, $6,600. Dalton Schultz, $3,800. Adam Thielen at $4,900 on our flex, and the Cowboys D against the Giants at $3,700. That leaves $400 left over. That's your $50,000 salary cap Thanksgiving DFS extravaganza. Me and Rob are going to see if we can place high with this lineup. Everybody, once again, this is Fantasy R&R with Rob and Ryan. We'll see you next time.